Hello, welcome back to part two of the Best Leader in Fiction tournament. If you want to see part one, where we did the playoffs, you can check that video out. Have a link in the description. Probably an end card at the end. If I can figure it out, I don't really know how to do that, but I'll figure it out. But today we are gonna do the knockout stages. I assume we could go all the way to the finals in this video. So they just show who is in the quarterfinals right now. So the first match will be Caesar versus Captain Picard. Next it will be Voldemort versus Katniss Everdeen. Then Emperor Palpatine versus Ned Stark. Then Vito Corleone and Captain Kirk. So those are the matchups, and this will be a single elimination. So we will be seeing who will advance to the next round by four factors. No, five factors. I had to change. I had to add another one for a tiebreaker. So the five factors are flexibility, trustability, motivation, planning, and effectiveness. So yeah, a little note there. Remember these. Those are the five criteria that we're going to be measuring these leaders to see who goes on. So we'll be measuring these five. First one will be Caesar from the modern Planet of the Apes, not the old ones, the modern ones, and Captain Picard from the Next Generation. So who do I think is a better leader? I think Picard and any Star Trek really, any Captain Kirk included, but I think Picard has the best flexibility, probably because each episode is a new problem they have to face. So they kind of have to be very flexible as a leader to do this. Also quite good in planning. I think Caesar had better planning due to him trying to start his own civilization from the bottom and being successful at the end of his story. Um, I think it's pretty close, but I think I would have to give it to Caesar moving on to the next round. Mostly because even though Picard did have better flexibility, I think Caesar had better trust in his apes. More apes trusted him. I know he had a revolt, but I think Captain Picard crew was really more just there for the job, not there for Captain Picard specifically. I think Caesar had better effectiveness as he did the job done, while Captain Picard just went with the flow. Caesar moves on to the next round. Next, we have Voldemort from Harry Potter going against Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games. These are from the movies, not from the books, if anyone was wondering that. Voldemort is a very underrated leader, in my opinion. He won against Aragorn, which was a pretty good leader. Voldemort is a very planful leader. From the very beginning, when he first met Harry, he had a goal in mind, and of course he died. But even when he was in spirit mode, he still had this plan. So he was very flexible with his ideal. Now that's probably due to his paranoia. That's what he put the seven Horcruxes. So if he dies, he could go into this. But that is quite a good plan. Very flexible of him to be thinking outside the box to split his soul in seven parts. So I think he went flexibility. I think he also went trust. I think Katniss Everdeen trust wasn't that much. Didn't really have that much appeal. You know, apart from Mockingjay, which had like a little group to go explore the city. Didn't really command that much. She did win the arena, but overall, like President Coin or some other people, she didn't hold that much power. And President Coin, as an example, is a person in power that didn't really trust her and see her more as a figure and not really a leader. Of course, she did prove at the end that she was a great leader, but she didn't really lead that much people in the first place. While Voldemort led a whole army. Uh, so I think due to that, I think Voldemort will be going on to the semifinals, going against Caesar. But let's not do this matchup yet. Let's go down here to see Emperor Palpatine from Star Wars going against Ned Stark from Game of Thrones. Ned Stark, even though he went to the quarterfinals, Ned Stark was a good man, but a good leader. But I think the planning is really not there. I think Emperor Palpatine probably has the best planning. Um, from all these leaders, just specifically in that criteria, because he saw the entire evolution of his plan. First, he was a senator to become chancellor, then he used his power, his position as chancellor, to get into a civil war with. He was also controlling the other side, so he basically made the civil war just so he could get the power necessary to make the empire happen. And when he has the empire, he also used the power to eliminate the Jedi as a Sith Lord. So he took some of his ops with him. He also made the construction of two giant um, starships, the two biggest known in this universe. So I think just to that criteria, I think Emperor Palpatine is moving on. Sorry, not Stark. Okay, next we have Vito Corleone from The Godfather, Captain Kirk. This is a very hard one personally, because I both love these characters. I both love the franchises, The Godfather and Star Trek. But one of them has to move on. Now, I would say who obviously has better flexibility is Captain Kirk, but I think who would have more motivation is probably still Captain Kirk. So he has 2 points, but I think better planning, even though Captain Kirk is very quick on his feet, he planning, kind of relies more on Spock and other people to be telling him some ideas to do. While Vito Corleone, even though he has some advisors, I think most of his plan was him. So he goes for plan. So Vito Corleone gets the point for planning. Effectiveness, Vito Corleone started from the very rock bottom. Now, of course, obviously, Captain Kirk started from the very rock bottom, but it was a much more easier step for him going to a legal process, just advancing through the ranks. And Vito Corleone, which is a criminal organization, that had to, kind of weave his way through the ranks, which is much harder to do. So I think Vito Corleone, personally, and also as a leader, was a better leader than Captain Kirk. Sorry. We have Caesar and Voldemort in the semifinals. Um, Again, Voldemort, great planner from 30 years plus. I don't know how exactly, but a long time to get revenge on Harry Potter and also take over the Wizarding World. Of course, it ended up failing. You have Caesar, a person or an ape, they made an empire just by his own will and by the apes. So let's just get straight to the point. Who is more effective? I think Caesar will be more effective in this rank, probably because, of course, he was successful. But I think he just did a better job at making a civilization than the Death Eaters. Death Eaters were really just put our baskets. I don't really know the expression that well, but all the support in Voldemort. That's really our guy who believe in our views. And Caesar was more, personally Caesar. Only Caesar could really be that one ape who took the power from all the apes. That's not bad, but in a good way. So I think we'll give Caesar for effectiveness. I will give trustability. I think Voldemort due to be kind of a bad guy. I think Caesar has better trust, even though he did have a whole revolt with Koba and the people who follow Koba. I think Caesar, for the average ape trusts Caesar more than the average Death Eater would trust Voldemort more, because he is a very ruthless leader. Motivation. Even though I think Voldemort has one of the most motivated people group of people, the Death Eaters, in all of fiction. I think just to the odds of the apes being the first time, because when Voldemort came to power in the Harry Potter series, he already was in war, the previous Wizarding War. So this is kind of a second round. So the Death Eaters felt more had to be less motivated to go to a second war, even though while compared to the apes, they just had to start from the rock bottom, from little slaves to the rulers of the planet Earth. So I think Caesar, for that reason, will have to move on to the next round. Next, we have Emperor Palpatine versus Vito Corleone. This is a very good one. I think Vito Corleone is a great leader, and I also think he will win. It's hard. I think he would win flexibility. I don't think Emperor Palpatine. I think that's his only one problem. He's not very flexible. He's a very tactician, thinking of plans. But I think when a problem happens in his plans, he kind of relies on other people to fix that. While Vito Corleone was the was the was the master of the cartel of the Corleone family. Um, So yeah, I think I would give flexibility to Vito Corleone. I think I'll give it trustability, um, and motivation to Emperor Palpatine because he got literally two times to go to war. That is incredible how he did that. I don't know how he did that, but he did. Um, Planning. I think again, planning will have to go to Emperor Palpatine. How you said that thing? Um, Motivation, flexible. I think Emperor Palpatine is a better leader. I think he did more stuff than Vito Corleone did. Vito Corleone was obviously very good leader, but I think he also has family, which is a bit easier more due to like, obviously family trust family more than this. But I think Emperor Palpatine has more motivation for leaders because Emperor Palpatine really motivated two sides to go to war, even though despite that Emperor Palpatine really was controlling both sides, while Vito Corleone couldn't really at the beginning of the movie didn't really have enough motivation to his son, so Michael could follow his footsteps. Now, at the end, he does do this, but there is a kind of a big downside on him. So even though I think Vito Corleone was my personal favorite to win this, I have to follow the facts and say Emperor Palpatine moves on to the final. Okay, the one and only championship final, the best leader of all of fiction from the 16. Sorry, Optimus Prime, I forgot about you. Anyway, it's Caesar and Emperor Palpatine. Now, what a great match! I think these are both fantastic leaders in their own in their own ways, and they're very different people and also leaders. Effectiveness, I think because Caesar was effective in his final thing to get a civilization for his aid, but Emperor Palpatine kind of fucked up heavy by trusting Vader that much. I think I would have the effectiveness to Caesar, and also I will also give trustability to Caesar because one guy that was supposed to trust Emperor Palpatine full heartedly ended up turning on him at the end. So that was a big fall for trust in Emperor Palpatine. Planning, I think I'll also give to Emperor Palpatine planning because he was just a better Voldemort, as an example, right? Very similar characters, but Emperor Palpatine just saw through his whole 50, I don't know how old he was, saw through his whole life, 30 years, 20 years, I think it was, of just, actually, I think it was 30 years of his life and how it was going to go. That's just incredible planning, superhuman planning, really. It was, yeah, I have to give it to Emperor Palpatine for the point for planning. Flexibility. Again, I don't think Emperor Palpatine is that flexible. I mean, Caesar does have some problem with flexibility. The point of War for Planet of the Apes, is literally him not seeing what was better for him and just being faced on anger, going to get the general who killed or something. Now, obviously, that's understandable, but he should have been as a better leader and not gone based on his hatred, but for what was right for his people. Right? But at the end, he does show that, and he does get his people out, even though it was 3 against 400 who was at the camp. Um, where Emperor Palpatine's not that flexible. Again, like, he really relies on just other people do his dirty work when stuff goes wrong. Ask Darth Vader to do this. Um, Grand Moff Tarkin to do that. He's not the most flexible. He's a very thinkative thinker. That sounds stupid. He thinks through a lot of stuff. In the future, so he will have power, but it's not when stuff goes wrong in his plan, he doesn't really know to adapt that well. That was really his downfall at the end. So due to that, I think I would have to give Caesar from the modern Planet of the Apes, the championship, the cup, the whatever the fuck this is. What is it? 16 best leaders in fiction. Caesar will be nominated the best leader in fiction of the 16. Sorry, I couldn't think that much. Caesar wins it all. Caesar is the best leader in fiction. If you have disagreements in my thoughts, or any of the rankings by the eliminations, you can comment down below. Maybe check out my other previous video, part one, if you missed the beginning. Yeah, it was nice seeing y'all. Shout out Caesar.